Damn, that tea is hot. Hi, Sagittarius. I got new lights. So, before we begin, let me sum up what's going on for you by telling you about what happened to me today after I connected with your energy and then realized that I had to first go run an errand. This is tragic for me. Why? Because when I connect with Sag energy, I like to stay indoors and away from people. Don't take that personally. You guys are great with people. Actually, I have no idea how you pull off being a Sagittarius and being great with people, because those two things are very different. But somehow you do it. I cannot do it. When I connect with your energy, I really need to be alone and thinking and using your wonderful insight, sharpness of mind, intuition, ability to categorize and classify and bridge and connect. I need to be doing all of that at home with whatever I'm working on, whatever I'm thinking about, whatever I'm formulating, and it's awesome and I love it. It does not work well for me out in the world, and as a Sagittarius who has you across there in my life, I do not employ Sagittarian energy until I'm being pushed around. Yeah. When someone tries to sun me, all of a sudden, like, the Sag comes out. Because, Geminis are basically very amenable. We're friendly and we seem like we're deceptive about it. Actually, we're deceptively amenable. We seem like we would be really into being formed by other people's opinions and their ideas, but really we're not. But we go along with it really well. Some would say too well. But we're not fighters in the classic sense of the word. We're not the ones to all of a sudden square up. We are often the ones that get, poked and made fun of, and because we're usually on that, forefront. So it's easy to make fun of someone who's super original, right? So we're not very used to it. And I think a lot of us employ your energy when we feel the world push back against us. We pull on that. So I'm not sure if what happened today happened because I got in touch with your energy and then I had to go, or because I needed your energy today, which is why I got in touch with it and then I had to go. Anyway, I had to go. So I go to this place. They knew I was coming. I got there. I had 2 small children with me. And the guy at the door tried to sun me. And at first, I didn't even get it. Don't take this the wrong way, but in my sort of, within the confines of my home, amongst my friends, if someone were to say to me, oh, I'm dating a Sagittarius guy, I always say the same thing. Please don't take this the wrong way. I don't think you will, but Sagittarians can be like the big swinging dicks of the zodiac. They like to really, be out there. And they're very charming or whatever. It's always my way of explaining why I'm not into them. I like a much more elusive, shy, hard to get to, nobody really knows him kind of guy. And Sagittarians are not that. Very attractive, very fun to be around. I can see why they're so popular with the opposite, gender, or with the same gender, with whoever. I can see why you're so attractive. But I call you that because, not only because you're attractive to so many, but also because you have this sort of bravado about you. There is a, if you're walking around with a weapon pointed at someone, leveled at the, you're not just walking around with an arrow and a bow and you're just going by, you've got it out. that's a that's a very strong energy. Let's put it that way so we don't have to go back to that saying. That's a very strong energy, and it has a real male connotation. And we've discussed this before about Sagittarians and Sagittarian women. It's awesome. I love androgyny. So it's a really attractive form of androgyny. Not actually that there are any unattractive forms of it. But I digress. So I connect with this energy. I go to this place. And so I'm trying to reason with the guy because even though the Sagittarian is like itching to come out of me and be like, but I have these two children with me and they are super embarrassed. There's like a line of people watching this guy embarrass these kids. And at one point, he was saying something and he looked at them. And I could tell from the way he looked at them that like he really was trying to embarrass them. And I was like, look, listen, it's okay. I'm not trying to get in your face. No problem. You've seen me in here before. Like, this is not me like making something up or whatever. You know what? Let's just. And he said, I see a lot of people. And I think if I weren't the androgynous Gemini Sag thing that I got going on, and I think if I wasn't all of these things, I think that was my cue I think the entire conversation was my cue to allow him to sun me. And then I think say something, bear with me, because it's going to make me sick to have to do it. It's probably going to make you sick to have to listen to me do it, but bear with me so we can all be on the same page of how fucking ridiculous it was that anyone thought I was ever going to fucking do this. I think the entire conversation was just kind of preempting me saying something like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Could you please let us in? Instead, because I don't even know what that is, like that hurt. I didn't even do it so well. I could do it much better. I didn't do it so well because like there was something in like here that was like can't do it. So instead of that reaction, sorry, when I'm angry, it takes me a little while to think. I slow down. Mercury and Taurus, I slow way down when I'm angry, especially. So when he said that, I realized that he really was trying to sun me. And the same thing happens whenever I connect with your energy. It's so funny. I laugh in people's faces. I have no idea. Like, it's so not me. I know it's not me. It's what comes out of me when I feel like put under, the knife, like put under the gun. Like there is this complete like Sagittarian sort of like utmost confidence. Okay. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, oh. When he said that, he was like, well, I see a lot of people. I was like, oh. Okay. All right. No problem. And I was like, no. No, it's cool. That's cool. All right, thank you. Let me tell you another version of the same story. That's okay. I'm sure the thing is, so many people are just not used to people not wanting to be sunned. So many people, when they're in a position of any sort of authority, like, you ever been at a wedding and you were really nice to a DJ because you wanted him to play something and he acted like a total dick? Because within the confines of that space, like, he's the king of that thing, and it obviously went completely to his head. That. We all do it. I'm sure a train conductor would do it if you got in his face and were like, what, stop? Or he'd be like, get the fuck out of here, leave me alone. Whatever, I get it. Localized attraction, we do it. Like, girls will go crazy over the DJ, but they wouldn't look at that dude on the train twice. But he's got control of, whether the dance hall or the reggaeton comes on. And all of a sudden you think he's hot. I get it. And just like you over here thinking he's hot because he has a little bit of control, he's over there thinking he's hot because he has a little bit of control. I get it. I get it. This is how the world works, blah, blah, blah. I get it. And you're all sitting there shaking your heads and, banging the table and laughing your asses off because this is not how Sagittarians roll. And this is why I don't leave the house when I connect with your energy. Because I think if I was just not doing it, like if I was connecting with, say, Scorpio energy, yeah, that would have went real different. Instead, I just laughed and I was like, nah, it's all right. Because I already have a weapon level that's you. What I'm not going to do is play games with you right now. Like, all right. Camera froze. So, let me tell you another version of the same story. Since we're talking, since we're having a little chat. This tea is really hot. So, another time where somebody tried to sun me. You guys will love this. And I had the same Sagittarian reaction. It was amazing. I always, look back at my Sagittarian reactions and I'm like, I'm so cool. Because, Geminis aren't cool like that. We're, cool, that person's different. But you guys are, cool. So, I met this group of people. And, I don't know. I'm a fairly open-minded person. If you're like, hey, I'm cool, I'll be like, hey, you're cool. That's cool. Good for you. Yay. In Fear and Loathing, there's this part where there's, there's a cop driving next to him who wants him to pull over, and Hunter leans out the window and he goes, yeah, you're doing really well, good for you. That's usually me. With everything. If people try to tell me, I'm like this, and I'm like that, I'm always like, awesome, good for you. And I mean it, but I just don't know what else to say. I'm like, okay, cool, that's so good. It's the same thing I do with my kid. Good for you. So, this group of people, they seem, fine or whatever. And so I hung out with them, right? And while I was hanging out with them, one of the girls sunned the other girl in front of a group of people. And I mean, she really sunned this bitch. She was yelling and screaming and crying and cursing her out and laying her business out and making it seem like she was a terrible person. And the people that she did it in front of, they didn't even know that shit. And I was sitting there and my brain kept shutting down, because I have this thing where I can't watch sex scenes and stuff in movies. I don't watch porn. I don't watch any of that stuff. Because I have this weird thing, even if somebody, brushes their teeth around me, I'm like, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know you were doing that. Can you, or people who walk around brushing their teeth, I'm the person who's like, excuse me, could you go in the bathroom and do that, please? I just, it's not a prudish thing. I'm not judging you. I got a Virgo moon thing about hygiene and cleanliness and aesthetic, and it all comes together in this painful way where I just don't want to see, I don't want to see nobody doing nothing at all untoward. It embarrasses me. It embarrasses me. हम राजपूत है ना, मेरी शान में फर्क आता है. मुझे मेरी किसी की बेइज्जती मेरे सामने हो ना, मुझे लगता है मेरी बेइज्जती हो रही है. Right? If somebody is embarrassed around me, what I said, the direct translation, I know you guys get irritated that I do that. Or not irritated, but you're like, what the fuck did you say? So what I said was, I'm a Rajput. That's my clan or caste or whatever you want to call it. And so we're very proud, And it's to have someone be embarrassed in front of you is like being embarrassed yourself, because that person is choosing to make you a party to something that is obviously highly disrespectful and completely unseemly and shouldn't be happening at all, and really impolite. And, these poor people who are just witnessing it are just what the fuck, So everyone is uncomfortable except the person doing it. And like, I always suspect that the person doing these insane things is having a great time because they know how inappropriate they're being. Anyway, so I watched her, son this girl, and I was just like, and I was honestly in shock. Like, the next day I was kind of like all, just wandering around thinking about it. Just haven't ever been spoken to that way. Not by a parent, not by a lover, certainly not by a friend, not by a husband. Like, no one in my life has ever spoken to me that way. I was like, ooh. So the next day, at some point, I find myself in a conversation that's starting to go the same way with the same person. And it dawned on me, like it did today, that I am in the process of almost being sunned. Someone is trying to sun me. And so, you go from being like the, oh, well, thank you, yeah, okay, sure, Gemini, to the, I'm going to throw all my energy that way into my house of relationships. Like, what'd you say? Wait, what? Hold on, say it again. No, say it again. And so when I realized there was something about the timbre of her voice that changed slightly. And I realized that she thought that she could talk to anybody the way she had talked to that bitch. Whoa. You have never seen me move so fast. I can be pretty slow moving. Like, I take my time. I like to be really organized. I like to do everything really slow. Oh my God. When I tell you that I moved, I took off. I was like made of like lightning. I was like an arrow. I was gone. Like the flash. I was gone. Because as soon as the timbre of her voice changed, I was like, oh shit, this bitch trying to die. Like, ooh, I don't think she understands how close she's about to come to getting hurt. I gotta get out of here. Like, yo, and it occurred to me, like, all these things, kind of cascade of understanding. Like, oh my God, she doesn't know you. Wait a minute. This is, because if my brothers or my friends or somebody was around, they would have been like, oh, whoa, 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 no. Like, my brothers will stop people dead in their tracks and be like, yo, you should move from all the heavy objects around you if you want to do that. Because she'll hurt you. Like, what do you do? No. I'm looking out for you. I'm trying to help you, And I had to get out of there. And I had to laugh. And I had to move swiftly. And I had to be impersonal about it, just like I was today. Because otherwise, either it would have hurt my feelings and it would have debilitated me, or I would have let somebody sun me, embarrass me, humiliate me for no reason. My ears are hot. So, all that is to say, if you're still not with it, if you don't get it yet, all that is to say that this particular month coming up for Sagittarius is going to be like this. It's going to be a lot of people really wanting to test where your boundaries and limits are. Here's the kick. Once they know where the boundaries and limits are, that's when they're really going to lay into you and try to push you. And I think we're being pushed for the right reasons. I know why what happened today happened for me. First card out, the Three of Swords. I know exactly why it happened. It's about power. You realize that in a little bit here, your planet, which is the most powerful planet, most would say. I would say because it's in my first house. It's about to be in your first house. I was born with it in my first house. Jupiter is about to come into your first house soon. This is the prep time. You know what happens when Jupiter is exalted, which is what it is in your sign? You guys are on top of it. So what has to happen when you're going to be on top of it all? What has to happen now before that can happen? A lot of weeding out. So we opened the floodgates a few months ago. A lot of stuff came in. 3 of Swords turning into 4 of Swords. And now having to sort things through. You are coming out of a hard time. But it seems like the time is getting easier even though the swords are increasing. 3 to 4 is good. 2 to 3, painful. 3 to 4 is good. It means that you are working through whatever it is and gaining a sort of, what did I say? To see something, and instead of letting that thing hurt you, what did I say? I could have let it hurt me. Instead of letting these things that are going to come at you seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, I could not have for the life of me predicted what happened today. I was so in shock. I was so hurt for my nephews. Like, you know, you really cool. You fucking with kids, okay. But, what did I say? The things are going to try to hurt you. But what you have to do is you have to take a step back from it, detach from it a little bit, be a Sagittarius, look at the situation like the, intellectual warrior that you are. Something's really itching me, sorry. Oh. I think it was my own hair, or it's my shirt. I apologize. You have to look at it with a little bit of dispassion and distance, and you have to not take the bait. This is definitely not taking the bait. This is taking whatever is being thrown at you to obviously hurt you and not giving into your reaction to it. There is a tendency with Sagittarius to be a bit reactive, right? You can be a bit reactive. Like if someone says something or does something, you're like, ugh. You see, I just did it again. That laugh, that's you guys. That's you guys. That's what I did today. When he said that, he was like, well, I see a lot of people. I was like, ugh. Okay. Yeah, all right. And that's what, like, bugs me out. Like, with the other story I told you, this is what always bugs me out. I'm so genuine that if you treat me that way for any reason, like, if you try to thug me or, like, sun me or try to humiliate me or something, like the other situation, like this situation, it's so funny how karma works. You know that whole thing, like, God looks out for fools and children? I feel like if you're on a certain vibration, you're just like a little kid in your head, then you never have to worry about those sort of things. Like, I've never thought about that thing since. I haven't had to. Because I know that I was treated so poorly that that person's karma's fucked. Same here. Like, you had 2 little kids, like, standing there super embarrassed. Like, Same for you. This 3 of Swords, you feel this pain because you feel innocent in what's going on. You feel like something is being done to you just to, like, mess with you. I've been cursing through the whole thing. Why am I stopping now? Just to fuck with you. You feel, I'm sorry, but you really feel that way. And the 4 of Swords is saying, a weekend, you won't feel that way anymore. You'll realize what's up. And what's up is that there's about to be a crown put on your head, and everybody knows, and everybody's invited to the coronation, whether they want to come or not, and they're not too happy about it, most of them. Because you're superstar big swinging dick anyway, right? Now you get to wear a crown, too? Mad annoying. Right? That's how people feel. That's why these 3 of Swords. That's why everyone's being that way. You can't just take it at face value. Sometimes you guys do that, and I'm like, you're too smart for this. Come on. Like, generally, it's us that takes things, superficially, and it's you guys who have the deeper. But sometimes, like, Gemini's be looking at Sagittarius like, you didn't get that? You didn't get that? You didn't get that? How'd you not get that? You so smart. You so much smarter than me. How'd you not get that? And the Sagittarian, who you guys hate to be trash talked. You hate it so much. You don't have an answer. And I'll tell you what the answer is. You get too focused. You not being able to see the bigger picture is a problem. This Aries card, this Mars influence just keeps coming up in every reading. Because Mars, this is what I'm saying. This instinct of, like, wanting to fight, wanting to pull that, bow back. I got a cramp in my foot as I said that. Whoa, this energy is strong. I mean, like, it's okay. Let's keep going. This Mars energy is crazy. When it meets up with Saturn, I can tell you not to fight, but get the armor on anyway. Don't fight. Be the guy who, goes to battle and doesn't, fire a shot. Doesn't need to. Be that person. But put your fatigues on anyway. Put your boots on. Please. Please. 2 of Wands and 5 of Swords in reverse. Actually very positive. I'll tell you why. There is much false ambition and much falsity in the people around you that has to fall away now. And it has to, like I said, because of the whole crown being put on your head soon thing. You know what I would do? I would revisit Henry IV if I were you. Or, if you don't want to do that, you can do... You could do Henry IV, Henry V. Or you could do My Own Private Idaho. That'll work. Because what they show in it is a prince who is to be made king soon. Honestly, if I knew what was bothering me, I would just fix it. Because it's so painful. What is it? Oh, I think it's a tag. Lame. Sorry, it was just so hurting. My Own Private Idaho. And what happens in that is basically there is a man waiting to be king. And so while he's waiting to be king, he does all these things. Like he goes and lives with homeless people and is like a total poser and acts like he has no money even though he's got this ridiculously wealthy father and he stands to inherit, this entire, in the movie, it's like a corporation or a conglomerate. In Shakespeare, it's a kingdom. And it shows you where he goes and what he does as he's preparing, as he's just, waiting, not even preparing, waiting to, get what's his. And what you find as the movie progresses or as the play progresses is that he is surrounded by people who he doesn't get it. But they are keenly aware that he will be king one day. And there are moments in both where you really feel bad for those people and you feel like this dude's just being a dick. But then as it progresses, it's very complex. As it progresses, you begin to understand that there is a natural hate among the two for each other. And that they are keenly aware that he will be very wealthy one day. And they are already starting to lay claims on it in many, many ways. And trying to take advantage of him. And trying to establish themselves in a kingdom that doesn't even exist yet. Because they can see what he can't see because he's so much in the now. For him, getting that stuff is an inevitability. It's coming to him. So he's not sitting there, worrying, wondering, and thinking up every move. That's just a fated given for him. But for them, it is a source of great, thought and planning and strategy and scheming because, it's the difference between squatting in a, abandoned building and, I don't know, living in a high-rise or owning the high-rise, something like that. Anyway, so what you find is a lot of this. You find someone who, while they were waiting to be king, consorted with a lot of people who actually weren't all that great and came up with a lot of ideas that were just a lot of smoke. See, because the person that he hangs out with most is like, I'm going to be your advisor, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, and they make all these plans or whatever. And, none of that happens. No, none of that happens. And he never, talks to them again or whatever. None of that happens. So those plans made out of sort of this fanciful wouldn't it be wonderful if, and although, and because, and then the people that you were sort of hanging out with and making these absurdities with, all of that is falling away. But that's great because there are real, concrete, awesome things that you can now focus on and get them done. And like I said, that's an inevitability for you. Jupiter will move into your sign. That's a given. It's not moving into everybody's sign that knows you. It's moving into your sign. As that happens and as that approaches, everyone is picking up on it, whether they realize it or not. And there are a lot of people who will show you now how untrustworthy they are, how without value they are in your life, how unfocused they have kept you, how they have kept you from pursuing the things you needed to pursue for your success, how they throw up impediments and stupid, petty power play, moves like trying to sun you when there's no reason for that. All of that. You will get a really clear look at what you cannot bring to the throne with you. You can't do it. You can't bring these people along. They're so dishonest. They're dishonest to the point where sometimes I wonder about you guys. What is it? Is it loyalty? I don't think so. Is it the hope that really kind of Aquarian, belief in humanity, that everyone can change and get better? I don't know what it is, why you ultimately forgive and really do seem to forget, and then the same thing happens again, and it's like, why are you surprised? Why? I find myself often asking Sagittarians, you see the same thing happening. You know the result is going to be the same as the last time you saw this happening. Why are you surprised? And as I'm saying it, it's occurring to me that you guys can do the same thing over and over again and have a different result because you are that smart. You'll make a new connection every time. So you expect that other people, if they are engaging in the same thing over and over again, that they will in fact also come up with different results as you do. But Sagittarius, they don't. You want to keep thinking that these people are somehow so great, but whatever vision you had with them of wherever you were going to go and the plans that you made and the ambitions you had, it's nothing and it amounts to nothing, and I think you need to let it go. And if it has to do with this Aries, I'm so sorry. Bottom of the deck here, 7 of Cups and the Tower. I guess what I experienced today was just a take, and I was keenly aware of it as I was happening. I was like, wow, this is what they're going to be dealing with all month, because I could tell from the way he was looking at me that he really just wanted to hurt my feelings, and it was really bugging me out. Like, why would anyone do that to me? What am I doing? I'm trying to get in here to spend money, bro. Like, what? Anyway. So, 7 of Cups and the Tower. It's just so in theme with everything else that's going on. If you have an Aries in your life that is causing this much pain, or if Mars is the one coming in and kind of uprooting all of this and throwing it up in the air, all I can say is that, again, this is not the energy that you can walk into a kingship with. If your fate was not inevitable in that Jupiter will enter your sign, it will be exalted, you will be in control, you will flourish, inshallah, inshallah, you will flourish, then you know that the 7 of Cups, the Tower, the 5 of Swords, whether upright or in reverse, has no place anywhere near where you are going. However, we have this discussion a little too often. So what I'm also thinking is that you, again, it's that forgiving and letting the toxicity back in. I'm not saying be cynical. I'm not saying give up on people. I'm not even saying don't have hope in people, and that they can get better. I'm saying somewhere between having hope and being super disappointed when they do the same thing that they've done every single time, there's got to be some middle ground where you can step back from the situation. Because see, if you're up too close, you see how confusing it looks? It's like a piece of paper with writing on it. If it's too close to your face, can you read it? No, right? Why not? Doesn't make sense. You need what? What do you need to be able to read something? You can't be here, right? What do you see? You see anything? What do you need to be able to see clearly? Perspective. This is me today, not understanding what was going on. This is what the cards are telling you right at the beginning. You will embody this energy. You need to embody this energy. This is a huge gift for you. Not to mention, we're going from 3 of Swords to 4 of Swords to 5 of Swords. The swords are stacking up. It is a difficult time. It's a heartbreaking time in a lot of ways. It's a painful time in a lot of ways. There are things that have happened, people you have lost, institutions and friendships and organizations and things that have been uprooted, and the confusion that you feel around it, the betrayal you feel around it may not be because someone actually betrayed you. You may feel the betrayal of the thing falling apart, of the thing itself and the institution. You can take that personally. You are the sign that can see an institution as having like a personality. You are that esoteric, right? And abstract. You feel let down by the whole thing. And you know, not to be too dramatic about it, I kind of felt that way too today. I was really like bummed by it. It really bummed me out. I was like, man, I thought this was a cool thing. Man. You know, guess not. You know, like those people that I was telling you about, I just kind of walked away from it going, huh. I thought those people were cool. Nah. So that times like a million, what kind of reading would that have been? Aren't you glad I told you my stories? What if I just came on here and was like, okay, this is how it's going to go. Really like kind of weird, people showing you who they really are, things are going to happen and you're going to have to go, meh. Even though what you're going to want to do is, you know, I know it's a horrible impression. I don't want to. Style. So style bhi manna na. Let's talk about it. Let's not avoid it. Let's just talk about it. Fine. But let's talk about it together. Let's give it context. Okay, let's give it more context. Do you see what happens when this sort of energy, people who are really not your friends are around? Can we talk about frenemies, Sagittarius? You see what happens. People who don't really care about you at this time especially will try to put all sorts of things in your mind. What is this entire reading about? It's very Buddhistic in that it's the negation of things as opposed to what it's actually telling you to do. It's a lot of what not to do. It's a lot of don't let yourself be confused by people who are not on your side anyway. Don't let yourself be confused by ambitions that were not appropriate anyway. Follow the more appropriate ambitions that are directly related to your sense of self. That's what Aries is about. Sense of self. Follow that which is the most connected to your sense of self. Let go of anything that may have been false in your ambitions within yourself or with others, or things that others may have talked you into, or relationships they may have talked you into. All of it that makes you leaves you feeling deceived. The reason it is good to step back is because the letting go is happening whether you want it to or not. And I'm really glad for it because considering what's on the table, you need a letting go. You need a reset. That's good. Okay, let's do an outcome card and then I'll show you and you can look at them with me. The extended reading links will be below, or you can go to my website. Outcome card. April. Sagittarius. Ooh, the Three of Cups almost popped out. I'm going to stop looking at them. Sometimes I get so consumed looking at them. It's like watching like a movie reel, you know? Certain cards come up over and over again. You're just like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be that one. Very interesting. It's kind of a hard reading. We have this moon coming up too. The energy is really heavy right now. Very antagonistic. A lot of testing, a lot of wanting to just get away and isolate. And look at this. Beautiful. Outcome after the Tower. 10 of Pentacles. Fantastic. Fruitful, abundant, money, respect, power, wealth, relationships, all of that stuff is included in the 10 of Pentacles vibe. After the Tower, whoa, what was that? After the Tower, that's incredible. Because what it's saying is exactly what I was saying. In the I Ching, it's the deliverance hexagram. After the rain washes things clean, there's that moment where you can, fill your lungs with the clean air after the rain. And this is akin to that for your abundance. Everything is going to remember what I said, he's going to be king. He will be king. It's an inevitability for him. And so, like in the movie, right before that happens, there's a big, huge blow up. When the people in his life that thought that they had been scamming him for years at this point realize that he's indeed much more clever than he's let on and has actually been scamming them the whole time, there is quite a lot of tension that ensues. And so the Tower moment and the Seven of Cups being people trying to confuse you, trying to take advantage of you, and the Tower moment being everyone realizing that their efforts have been in vain and you were never being manipulated. All of that, like they thought they were doing, I don't know what to you, but that was never happening. So when those realizations happen, you may have people confronting you, you may have people trying to sun you, and you may have people just envious of your, aura, because like we've talked about so much, since Saturn left, things are going to get better and better. I know they have not gotten better quite as fast as we would like, but I don't think things ever move quite as fast as a fire sign wants. So what's to be done there? But it is all on its way. Let's look at these cards, and we'll also look at the bottom of the deck. I'm just going to stop you guys for a second so I can set it up. With the lights and everything, it's a little complicated now. I'll be right back. All right. Here we are. So you can see, let's read it like a story. They're going to test you. It will hurt your feelings. Keep your calm. Keep your calm, especially when the Mars energy comes in. All month, okay? All month. Keep your calm. Keep your calm. Why? Because they can see where you're going, even if you can't. You can't see where you're going right now. That's okay. A lot of people have had you turned around. You may have found out more about how some people may have been not quite honest with you. Even more may have been revealed to you, which is why it's in reverse, because it's even more painful. It may have then affected a lot of your plans. I'm sorry, it's just a bad situation. I get it. However, let's say that you are not dealing with any sort of heartache. Then simply, this does not mean that bad things are going to happen in April. It means that you should guard your heart, keep perspective on other people and why they're acting the way they are. It has everything to do with their ego and nothing to do with yours. This is a card associated with ego. This is someone whose ego is overblown. This is that sort of combative, pugnacious sort of energy. What you want to do with this, because this is going to be like, coursing through your veins, what you want to do with this one is don't make any plans right now. And also, as cynical as it may sound, be a little careful about who you trust right now. This does not mean, again, if you find yourself in a great place, none of these are bad cards. It means that you need to be careful because some people and some plans that you are making with people right now are not going to pan out the way you think. And you just need to be a little bit guarded with your stuff, your time, your money, whatever it is. Okay? Now, 7 of Cups and the Tower. It is pretty obvious to me that there is a lot of confusion being brought onto you by the behavior of others. You find yourself unable to find the reason behind, I think you are looking desperately for a why. Why are people testing me? Why do I need to keep perspective? Why are people's egos kind of reaching out to bite at me and claw at me? I don't know if there is a why. I think people are being forced to show you that side of themselves because you are being forced to see who you're surrounding yourself with, because you are going to be put in a position of quite some power. And so it's really important to weed out that around you which does not jive with it. And for you, that may seem very painful and upsetting, but it's so positive. The 10 of Pentacles there to really prove, drive the point home that this is truly abundant and you are so much closer than you think. But obviously, because what you're thinking, you're so far from the truth right now. Now, let's look at it a different way before we do bottom of the deck. What if you're a person who's interested in a Sagittarius and you're watching this, especially as an Aries, you're watching this and you're thinking, well, how does this apply to me? Right? Where am I in this reading? Well, unless you're an Aries, then you know where you are. What can I do with this reading? Well, if you are the cause of this confusion, back up a little, because things will start to flow in the right direction, but you need to give it space. Also, stop being confrontational. That's not working. Also, this Sagittarius is dealing with some sort of mistrust when it comes to you or people that you're around. Address it. They're not going to. You have to. 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords, Emperor. Whatever has happened is going to take longer to heal than you think. They're not going to move as fast as you, even though they are very fast moving. Now, you Sagittarius being the they at the moment. Don't push. Anyone who's watching this because they're interested in the Sagittarius, they're trying to figure out what to do, don't push. There's too much going on for you to come in with this energy and push. It's all working out, but you got to give it the space and time that it needs. And Sagittarius will do a good job of doing that if you don't externally push them. Now, bottom of the deck, 5 of Cups. Is there a certain sense of sentimentality and loss with you guys when this happens and you have to leave people behind and come to realizations about people? Of course there is. You're not made of stone, remember? Not a stone Buddha. Of course it affects you. But again, the sadness is worth, the price you pay is worth the abundance you get. You get to be, reinvented. A new life, a new opportunity, a new you. Now, the 3 of Cups. Knight of Swords. 5 of Wands. That is, I don't know what that is actually. I don't know what that sound was. Anyway, this is it's, okay, yeah, we'll look at that in the extended because this is already turning into a very long reading. Okay, all right. So, and I guess they're hammering something upstairs. They're putting up shelving. It's a bit late. Anyway, so Sagittarius, here is your reading. If you click on the little square here in the center, you will be led to my website, and there you can click on extended readings and go straight to all the extended readings for April. You can rent them, you can stream them, you can download them, and it's all instant, and it's not just PayPal. So it's much more easy to use, or you can use the Shopify link below. And I think there are a couple of tickets left for Atlanta, so I'll put that link up, and I'll see you in May. I love you guys. Bye, Sag.